Stanford didn't get mad, it got even. 9 months after losing to UConn in the NCAA Finals, the Cardinals ended the Huskies' 90-game winning streak. So now the Huskies will attempt to begin a new streak. Will Villanova become victim number one? Find out next on CPTV. This place because the home team hasn't played a game here in 26 days. We are at Gamble Pavilion in Storrs, where the Villanova Wildcats visit the second ranked, that's right, the second ranked UConn Huskies. And a very pleasant good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Picozzi along with Megan Kumo. We hope you had a wonderful holiday season. It has been a while. Tonight, for the first time in 773 days, UConn will take the floor coming off a loss. Megan, any concern about a hangover effect following the streak-ending loss?
No, I don't think so. I think, quite frankly, the best thing that could have happened to this team was losing to Stanford, get that streak talk out of the way, and just focus on each game in front of them.
And in the loss to Stanford, we saw a UConn team which does have some flaws.
Well, yeah, I mean, Gino Auriemma has talked about the flaws that they have all season long, but it's much easier to not have to deal with them as a team when you win so much, so often. But they go into a hostile environment in Stanford. Jeanette Poling with a career-high 31. Maya Moore, doing things that we're just not used to seeing her do. I mean, Stanford, they controlled the paint. They scored inside, they scored outside, and Gino is trying to say, listen, I say these things to you all the time, and now you're being exposed. But Kelly Farris had a terrific day. Bria Hartley, the freshman, really showed some moxie in that hostile environment, but Stanford proved to be too much leadership, too much experience, and they stymied Maya Moore and the Huskies. But when you look back on this streak, it's astounding when you look at these numbers. To win those games by 33 points and the good opponents that they beat, look at the number of 40-point wins that they had. It is absolutely remarkable what this team was able to accomplish. And I think they will, as will everybody else, appreciate it more down the line. So tonight they turn the page. They play a Villanova team which is 7-6, and they have a transfer from Temple who's fit in like a glove. Yeah, Lindsey Kimmel she's been a bright light offensively, particularly in the last half a dozen games. You see what she's done the last couple games there. It made the Big East honor roll last year, but let me tell you what, you talk about gloves, she's going to need boxing gloves here tonight. They are undermatched against the Huskies. And while one UConn streak ended, another lives on. A win tonight, and UConn will break the streak for the longest home court winning streak in NCAA history. Will they make it 70 in a row at home? Bob Picozzi and Megan Kumo back at Gamble Pavilion for the 51st meeting between UConn and Villanova. Let's check out the starting lineups. First, for the visiting Wildcats, Laura Sweeney coming off a 15-point performance last time out in a win over Yale last Thursday. She leads Villanova in rebounding, and last season she won the Big East 6th Man of the Year award. And for UConn, sophomore Kelly Farris scored a career-high 19 points in the loss to Stanford on Thursday. She does a little bit of everything, averaging 7 points, 6 rebounds, and more than 3.5 assists per game. And what are Kumo's keys to tonight's game, Megan? Well, we talked a little bit off the top. You got to shake off the Stanford game, forget about it, but use it, if anything, as a positive motivation going forward. And you got to help Maya Moore. Everyone, you can't stand around and wait for her to do something. They've got to really be sharp, move well without the ball offensively, and give her some help. And then just very simply play UConn basketball, play great defense, be aggressive offensively, rebound the basketball, and they'll be fine. Villanova is, as always, coached by Harry Peretta. He is the dean of Big East coaches. No one's been at it longer in this conference than he has. And as you see, he needs only 7 more wins for his milestone 600th career victory. And his longtime friend and counterpart tonight, Gino Auriemma, is the 7th winningest coach in NCAA women's history, and he has the 2nd highest winning percentage in the history of women's basketball. And so UConn tonight can also, believe it or not, break yet another record. A win tonight, and they'll have the longest home winning streak in UConn history. The record is 69, held by Tennessee, and by the way, broken by UConn. Yeah, exactly. And then UConn once won 69 in a row at home itself. And a win tonight, and the Huskies will get to number 70. The Huskies have played 623 consecutive games since the last time they lost 2 in a row. An astounding statistic, a streak which has lasted 17 and a half years. They lost in the 1993 Big East tournament to Providence. Can't blame that on you, Megan. You graduated the previous year.
That's exactly right. I'm glad you remember that.
And then they lost their first NCAA tournament game to Louisville. And other than the national championships and the 90-game winning streak, that might be the most impressive stat at all. They have not had a losing streak in nearly 18 years.
Yeah, that just shows you focus and toughness. And speaking of toughness, Ferris got elbowed.
You should see the other guy, by the way.
Got elbowed by, I think it was Dolson. One of her teammates in practice. Yeah, and so Doc Trojan, she didn't need stitches. It just got glued.
That's the modern way of medicine. Just glue it shut.
Yeah, good old Elmers.
Moore down low to Dolson. Missed the easy layup and rebound on a hop to Sweeney. Villanova's coming off a couple of wins in the Fordham Holiday Classic. They won the event, a 4-team event, last Wednesday and Thursday in the Bronx, beating Yale in the final. This is number 2, Rachel Roberts. It is a welcome home for her. Kid from Mercy High School in Middletown. She misses the 3. A rebound, Hartley. Hayes, who had a 1 for 9 shooting night against Stanford.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see Tiffany Hayes get on track offensively.
Moore with the miss. Rebound on a bounce to Dolson. Missed the easy layup, but no one checked out Maya Moore.
Well, she is relentless.
Moore took the loss to Stanford very, very hard. She might be more competitive than she is talented, and that's a mouthful, by the way.
Yeah, it sure is. That's saying something. I mean, the kid, she takes it very seriously, and she takes her role as the leader of this team very seriously, and she feels she let her team down.
Moore played the full 40 minutes, went 5 for 15, and scored a season-low 14 points in the loss to the Cardinal. This is 22, Devin Kane. The 3 by Kimmel, no good. Offensive rebound, Sweeney. Harry Peretta plays the same offense year after year. 5 interchangeable parts. There's the steal by Ferris. And the handoff to Hartley. Moore baseline. To Hayes. And she will
she
go
hit
down
her head
very hard.
I know it sounds silly, but sometimes, you hope that ponytail can help soften that blow. Her head hit pretty hard. Watch, she slices through. Oh, can't quite see it, but man, she hit hard. But she's up. She looks okay.
The foul was on Kimmel. And Hayes will go to the line. You can see the look of anguish on her face. Very good free throw shooter. 5th in the Big East at 80.9%. And she very much, Megan, would like to redeem herself for her performance against Stanford.
Well, unfortunately, Tiffany has had some spectacular scoring games this year, and then she's had a couple games where she's struggled. And I know she wants to be more consistent. And in a big game, in a tough environment, I know she didn't play the way she's capable of playing.
She played very well against Ohio State in another big game in a big environment at Madison Square Garden. Sweeney for 3, no good. Rebound Ferris. Quick outlet Hartley. Here's the 3-on-3 to the trailer Hayes. Low block Dolson off target, wound up in Moore's hands. Rebound off Kimmel's foot, and it will go back to UConn.
Well, UConn was so in sync before that Christmas break. That Florida State game, I mean, they were just on fire. And almost like the break kind of cut their momentum.
Dolson with a nice soft touch from the foul line. She's a 65% shooter. Full court pressure.
Yeah, great touch. She's going to be a phenomenal player.
Sweeney gives to Kane. A year ago, Villanova finished 3-13 in the Big East. There's another turnover, the 3rd for the Wildcats. Ahead to Hayes, has Dolson and fouled her.
Nice pass.
And Harry Peretta calls timeout. He's very upset at the way that Villanova has turned the ball over now 3 times in its front court.
It's all about the little things. And how can Dolson outrun some of Villanova's big guys? That's one of the things I'm sure that has Harry Peretta irate. That's just hustle.
Harry Peretta has said of his team, he told me they play hard, but they are inexperienced and they make a lot of mistakes.
Well, and what he's yelling about here is when you've got to come to the basketball. You can't, especially he knows how hard UConn plays. When someone is passing you the ball, you've got to come to the basketball. Don't wait for the ball to come to you. You've got to step to it and aggressively go after it to catch it. Otherwise, UConn's going to step in, steal it. It'll be a layup like we've just seen.
Again, full court man pressure for the Huskies. Kane checked by Hartley. On the right, Kimmel picked up by Farris. He's an outstanding man-to-man defensive player. Back to Kimmel for three. Up in the air for the rebound is Hartley. Quickly Hayes. Golson set the screen to Farris.
See, I'd like to see Maya Moore get in there and post up a little bit.
Shot clock at 10. Farris with the slip to Dolson, but the pass was way underthrown.
It was defended well by Villanova, too.
Roberts to Sarah Jones. And an air ball and rebounded by Farris. Villanova 0 for 5 to start the game. Hartley lost her footing. Managed to keep that pivot foot on the floor, but then threw the ball away. UConn has turned it over 2 straight times.
And Harry was telling him to slow it down, walk the ball. This is what we're used to seeing out of Villanova. Very, very, deliberate offense.
They like to reduce the number of possessions in the game.
Well, that was a nice take. Smart play there.
Villanova 0 for 6. That was the Wildcats' first 2-point attempt of the night. UConn has turned the ball over 3 straight times. Wonder how many times you could say that in that 90-game winning streak. Kimmel. 4 minutes gone. It's 8-0 Huskies. Sweeney. Shot clock inside 10. Kane. Blocked by Hayes. Shot clock at 3. Didn't recycle. Roberts beats the shot clock and rebounded by Hayes. Villanova now 0 for 8 to start the game. Hartley jumper. Good box out by Sweeney.
Yeah, fundamentally sound. But what I didn't like about that particular shot from Hartley, just a little too quick, especially when the team is not really into a rhythm yet. Don't shoot right up when you come into the front court.
Kimmel, another 3. Villanova is 0 for 9 from 3-point range, and 0 for 9 from the floor, and 0 for 7 from 3-point range. It's an 8-0 UConn lead. Nobody knows about long UConn winning streaks better than Villanova. The date was March 11, 2003. Big East championship game at Rutgers. Diana Taurasi hitting the jumper, but she scored just 13 points that night. Feeds down low to Jessica Moore. But Trish Julien stole the show for Villanova. She scored 18 points. She was named the most outstanding player of the tournament. And Villanova beat UConn by a score of 52-48 rather, and that ended the then NCAA record 70-game winning streak for the Huskies. So how ironic, Megan, that in the game after UConn's record 90-game winning streak, the Huskies play the Villanova team, which ended the previous NCAA record for the longest winning streak, also held by UConn at 70.
Well, and I was talking to Harry about that before the game, and he said, you know, Meg, I truly believe they would not have won the national championship that year if we hadn't beaten them, because in the semis against Texas at the Final Four, they were behind. He said they would have panicked like they did against us had they not had the experience of playing Villanova and losing.
Hartley has her shot blocked out of the timeout. Kane up top to Sweeney. And we'll get a foul on Samari Walker, who's checked in for the Huskies. That's the first foul of the night. It took 5 minutes and 18 seconds to get it. So Villanova will inbound on the side. Wildcats 0-1 in Big East play. The only loss to West Virginia. By the way, the Big East still does have a team that's undefeated, but it's not UConn. It's the West Virginia Mountaineers.
Yeah, Mike Carey once again doing a great job. That'll be a tough game for the Huskies in Morgantown this year.
Sweeney. Villanova's doing an awful lot of standing around on offense. All playing around the perimeter.
and which is what they do. They're having a hard time kind of getting their offense. They don't quite, it's a hard offense to learn, and until you learn it, you know, you sometimes don't look as good as you are.
Megan Pearson checks in. Villanova is now 0 for 10 and 0 for 8 from three-point range.
But I tell you what, that's why Villanova can upset teams as they have over the years, because when you do get it, you can beat teams that are better than you.
Moore had sweet position, missed the first shot, but then cleaned it up.
I'd like to see Maya Moore spend a lot of time in the lane here tonight.
Cross-court pass right into the hands of Moore, who avoided the charge and dumped it down low to Walker.
Yeah, smart play.
This is Pearson, who played 6.5 minutes. Villanova looking to get on the board still. Jones, everything but 2 shots has been a three-pointer. Quickly, it's Hayes, and then Kane just reaches out to try to prevent the layup. Number 1 on Kane, and that will be the second team foul on Villanova, and Hayes will earn a trip to the free throw line.
We see.
Number 3, Tiffany Hayes shooting 2.
You know, it's a smart foul. And, you know, she didn't try to throw Tiffany Hayes into the basket support, but she just didn't want to give up an easy layup. She went for the ball.
Hayes knocks down the first shot. Gino Auriemma said, look, the way you get to be good is you have to go through things over the course of the season, and then you prove over and over and over that you're really good and you're really tough. And he said you don't do that in 12 games. You do that over the course of the whole season. It was a reality check the other night for the Huskies. And as you mentioned, Megan, it's certainly not the worst thing in the world for UConn to have that winning streak end.
You know, I know he was sick of hearing about it. I was sick of reading about it, and you kind of lose focus on what's really going on.
Well, it's the type of streak that would be less likely to bother a experienced veteran team. But
Right.
this is a team with only 7 players. Only 7 play in a close game, and 3 of those 7 are freshmen. Sweeney missing badly, didn't even hit the rim, but then Moore loses the rebound out of bounds. Shot clock didn't recycle. 9 to shoot for Villanova. And of course, the team they lost to is, you know, not exactly the little sisters of the poor, the Stanford Cardinals.
Well, not only are they incredibly talented, but, you know, I thought, and their height, they're just so big, but also, you know, they're so experienced.
And experienced at playing UConn. There aren't many teams, a handful at most in the country, who when they take the floor against UConn, really, if you injected truth serum, they would say we think we have a chance to win.
Exactly.
Stanford's one of them.
Yeah.
Shot clock all the way down to 3. And Carey, shot clock at 1. She's not going to get it off. And the irony is it went in after she released it. Well, I would say that Harry Perez is going to lose his hair over this team, but it's a little too late for that, huh?
That was cruel. You have a full head of hair, so you can say that.
You were asking him before the game, so tell him about your team. He said, can we talk about something else?
He is candid. That's the best.
Can we talk about the Eagles?
He wants to talk about his sons and how his younger son plays chess. 4th grade. I'm 40, and I can't play chess.
Hayes down low. Walker, she lost the ball out of bounds. 4 turnovers for UConn. Villanova plays the same way, and it really takes a lot of precision and understanding and execution. And when you have new players, it takes a while to grasp this offense, and they're nowhere near grasping it yet.
No, and Harry was saying that before the game. He said, you know, when in our system, and I started to say it before, before the kids really have the system down, they look worse than they really are. But when they get it, they're better than they really are, and that's why we can upset people.
Amanda Swazinski ends the shutout. It took 7 minutes and 48 seconds for Villanova to get on the board. And Hartley comes right back with a 3. Villanova had been 0 for 10 from three-point range and 0 for 12 from the floor before they finally hit that shot. And that, on the other hand, was UConn's first three-point attempt of the night.
Wow. Well, I'm not really surprised. Gino said when we taped the show that aired before this game, we taped it Monday morning. He said, you know, we just took too many threes.
Yeah, Stanford did a great job at taking away anything UConn had in the lane. Of course, UConn's not the same team without Tina Charles, needless to say.
No, and see, and look at this. I mean, we're seeing. I thought we would see a crisper UConn out here today. I have to tell you, Bob.
Well, we haven't so far, that's for sure. 5th turnover for UConn, and we've only played 8 minutes and 45 seconds. Roberts to Jesse Carey. Roberts, 3-time first-team All-State selected by the Hartford Current. Shot clock all the way down to 3. Roberts cuts for the basket, missed the shot. Rebound Walker. Dixon quickly front court Hayes. Dixon made a very nice recovery from that foot injury she suffered on the West Coast trip.
Yeah, as of the morning of the Stanford game, she wasn't going to play, but she sucked it up and got out there and played.
Hayes for 3. It's 20-2 UConn. Imagine what it would be if they hadn't turned it over 5 times.
Well, yeah, if they had, played a little bit better than that. Nice steal there from Maya Moore.
Hayes draws a foul for the 3rd time tonight. This one will be on number 3, Jesse Carey, her first and 3 on the team. The Huskies begin the game on a 20-2 run. Maria Hartley knocking down the 3. And Tiffany Hayes responding with another trifecta. The Huskies looking to start a new streak. Off to a good start.
Join CPTV for the heartwarming and emotional story of Canute the polar bear and his extraordinary young life. Canute and friends following the game on CPTV.
Oh, good for Canute, but I don't think we'd want to show Canute the tape of this early game from Villanova. What a nightmare for the Wildcats. They missed their first 12 shots.
Yeah, and 10 of those were threes. And Villanova's only shooting 36% on the year. You live and die by the 3. And what doesn't help is when you play a team like UConn that is so good defensively that can stretch it out and force turnovers and just make it so difficult for them to run offense. And that's part of the reason they've had so many shot clock violations.
Inbound pass is deflected by UConn, so Huskies will do it again. The Huskies defensively 3rd in the country in rebound margin, 4th in points allowed, 6th in field goal percentage defense. They're only giving up 48 points a game. Villanova in turn only scores 52 a game. A foul down low will be called on number 21 Amanda Swazinski, her first and 4 on the team.
Team foul number 4.
So Hayes will inbound baseline. Next up for the Huskies, a tough one. They will visit 12th ranked Notre Dame in a nationally televised game on Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock. Hartley for 3.
A little better flow and execution that time. And Hartley just so good at coming up off the screen and turning and facing and dropping it.
So UConn began the game with a 14-0 run, and since Villanova scored, the Huskies have gone on a 9-0 run. Jesse Carey gives to 22 Kane. Down low. There's good ball movement, resulting in the easy layup by Heather Scanlon.
Yeah, nice back cut there by Scanlon.
Scanlon was a high school teammate of former Husky Megan Gardler. Hayes to Walker. Right side Dixon. Moore's getting a rest for the Huskies. Shot clock inside 10. Walker trying to post up down low. Hayes on the drive.
Nice take. She wanted her teammate to come set the screen like she was going to go to her right hand, and the defense cheated and she went left.
Hayes is much better, don't you think, when she's driving the ball to the basket instead of just settling for open shot, open jumper after jumper.
Well, something good always happens. Either she scores or she often gets fouled.
She often falls down.
Oh, well, she does.
Hayes will be called for a foul, her first, and number 2 on the Huskies. Wildcats executed their offense pretty well this time down.
Well, that was just real pretty offense, taking advantage of the Huskies' mistake defensively. And as we were just saying, you know, Tiffany Hayes so good. And Bob, she's always allowed to go to her left hand. That's what just blows my mind. She's so dominantly left-handed, but she gets herself to the basket, and that's really impressive.
You know, NFL teams figured out after a couple of years that Steve Young was left-handed. UConn's opponents don't seem to realize that Tiffany Hayes is a southpaw. Carey drives, just tried to draw the foul and did a good job of doing it. Should be on Moore. Her first. And number 3 on the Huskies into the free throw line. Will go number 3, Jessie Carey.
Number 3,
There.
Jessie Carey. 2 free throws.
Maya's trying to say that foul wasn't on me, was it?
Well, Carey probably, even if she didn't want to play basketball, had very little choice.
Right, the family she comes from.
She has 3 older sisters who all played college basketball. Devin played at Loyola of Maryland. Brooke played at Columbia. Ashley played at Winthrop. And by the way, her dad, Mike, was a center for the Oakland Raiders. So
I've known their family over the years. But this is how old I'm getting. You know, I know her dad.
And Jessie's high school teammate was Caroline Doty at Germantown Academy. Moore, catch and shoot.
Well, you know, one of the keys, as I talked about, is just play UConn basketball, as they always do. Don't worry about the score, but they've got to continue to improve. And I know UConn's going to want to improve on the first 12 minutes of this game. And as we've often seen, Bob, the score does not matter to them.
Inside 10 on the shot clock. Sweeney. Up top, Carey. Shot clock at 3. I mean, Villanova wants to run the clock down, but they want to get a good shot. They certainly didn't that time. Hayes for 3. Knocks it down. Tiffany Hayes.
So important, yeah, Bob, so important to get Tiffany Hayes back on track offensively.
So the Huskies, what did they score against Stanford? 59 points. They've got more than half that already. And they've only played 12.5 minutes tonight as Villanova takes a timeout with the Huskies leading it 30-6.
Well, and as we've been kind of talking about, UConn hasn't played that great to start this game, but they're starting to pull away, and they're starting to show, you know, flashes of what we have seen. And there, it's nice to see Tiffany Hayes get open on the break. Hartley found her.
Gino Auriemma would love to see his team rely less on Maya Moore. They certainly relied way too much on her in the Stanford game. He says, look, when we play together and we help each other get open, we can beat any team in the country.
Well, those numbers are pretty good, as she hasn't missed a shot from anywhere.
After going 1 for 9 against Stanford, did Hayes.
And these kids are competitors, and don't forget, you know, that's the first game Tiffany Hayes has lost in college.
Yeah, she's 90-1 in their college career. Roberts, better ball movement on this possession for the Wildcats. Let's see if it results in a good shot, though.
Huskies playing a little zone.
And Pearson knocked it down. That was Villanova's best possession so far. They missed their first 10 threes, and that was their first three-point make by Megan Pearson. Dolson is knocked away by Sweeney. Up top, Moore. Hayes got tripped by Pearson. And it will be number 1 on Pearson, 5 on the team. So UConn will inbound on the side. Maya Moore, already the leading scorer in UConn history, has 6 points in the early going tonight. Villanova, UConn leads it by 21. On out to a huge early lead. Their first game after a 90-game winning streak ended. They won 70 in a row earlier last decade. Gino Auriemma very proud of those 2 remarkable streaks.
I think that says a lot about how we've put it together and how it works on a daily basis, and hopefully what kind of culture we have and what the expectation level is. It's not easy to do 25 or 30 of these in a row, much less 70 and then 89. You add the 2 of them together, it's mind-boggling. It really is.
The 90 wins breaking UConn's previous NCAA women's record for the longest winning streak. in Division I history. Also 2 games longer than the longest Division I men's streak. UCLA under the great John Wooden, winning 88 in a row back in the early 70s. So now the mission where they can get back to the most important mission of all, and that's to try to win another national championship as Moore knocks down the jumper. That's always goal number 1, Megan, win a national championship.
Well, it is, and you know, and you start that, you know, first by focusing on the Big East championship, and you know, this game is far more important than the Stanford game because this matters towards that Big East regular season championship, and then you got the tournament. You got a traveling violation there.
Harry Peretta says, "You okay, Megan?" I don't know what she tripped over.
I think that line.
That half-court line. Those lines can be tough. They can jump out.
And sadly, I've tripped over
Grab
them
your
many
ankles.
times.
Moore. Hands off to Hartley. Farris for 3. And rebound on a hop to Moore. The no-look pass inside to Dolson, but she couldn't catch it. Substitution Villanova back in the lineup. Number 12, Lindsey Kimmel. Stwazinski departs. And also in number 25, Emily Suey, who also hails, as Jesse Carey does, from a remarkable athletic family.
Yeah, a lot of these kids have just a remarkably athletic families.
Well, Suey has 6 family members who played football at Penn State.
Yeah, right. Her dad and her brother, right? And then 4 others. Unbelievable.
And a cousin, her uncle Matt, of course, was an outstanding fullback not only at Penn State, but had a long career with the Bears. Her dad was a captain at Penn State. Shot by Farris, no good. Rebound on a hop, Sweeney.
And you know he played for Paterno. He's been there 100 years, right?
Joe coached them all. When Joe blows the whistle, practice and yells Suey, there's a good chance that somebody will stop and look at him, right? We'll get a foul on setting a traveling violation. Number 7 turnover on Villanova. And Lauren Dixon will come in. There's Harry Peretta. This is his only head coaching job. He's in his 33rd year. In 1982, back before the NCAA Women's Championship decided the national championship, the AIAW tournament did, and his team went all the way to the semifinals before losing to a Rutgers team whose captain, by the way, was one Chris Daly, as Moore kisses it off the glass. This is the biggest lead of the night of the Huskies. Of course, we love going into the Rutgers gym.
Is there anything better than seeing that old picture of Chris Daly?
In the short gym shorts, basketball shorts, from that 1980s, because then Rutgers went on and won the next game and actually won the national championship when it was the AIAW tournament. I think they should have a copy of that photo in this arena, by the way, and in Hartford.
I'm going to work on that.
Kimmel with the miss. Bring that up at halftime, will you? When you talk to her.
She'll kill me.
Deflected out of bounds by Kimmel. The look is a little different now.
Yeah. Yeah, much different.
She was an outstanding player. St. Peter's High School, right? New
Yeah,
Brunswick?
yep.
And at Rutgers.
I remember playing against her in practice, you know, when I was playing, what, 20 years ago. She was a great player. She was tough.
Well, she's still tough.
But now she doesn't want to break a nail.
Dolson down low and has her shot blocked by Sweeney. Held ball, possession arrow. Will give it to Villanova. When you're 6'5", you got to hold the ball a little higher, don't you?
Well, you know, that's just her youth and her inexperience, and you know, she just needs to get tougher, because when she gets older, she'll establish that position and she'll get an offensive foul with the elbow to the face before she'll let that shot get blocked.
Kane, wide open look, and knocking down the 3 is number 25, Emily Suey. Villanova's second 3 of the night. They're only 2 for 14. Hayes comes back, misses the 3. Dolson kept the rebound alive, and who touched it last? Sweeney went flying into the press table.
She did. She hit her head, but thankfully she went underneath.
That'll bring us to an official timeout. Good hustle for Laura Sweeney. But so far, it's been a long night for her Wildcats. UConn on top by 22. Is your home for UConn women's basketball, where tonight, how about this for stat? The UConn starters have outscored the Villanova starters 32-0.
Wow.
in the first 16-20 of this. Megan and I will come your way 1 week from tonight from the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. UConn St. John's, 9:30 on CPTV.
Yeah, that's usually past my bedtime.
Down low, Walker. It's a shot blocked by Sweeney. And Kimball comes away with it. St. John's ranked 18th in the country. They lost last night at Louisville. They'll play DePaul this Saturday. Doug Bruno's team off to a great start. Missed by Sweeney. Doug Bruno's DePaul team beat Stanford by 20 this season.
Yeah, killed him.
Farris had her pass knocked away, got it back. Moore, ball fake, and the no-look dumped down to Walker.
See, against Stanford, she would have shot that three. This time, the pump fake, the dribble penetration drew the defense, and the great no-look pass to Walker.
Moore entered the night tied with Hayes for the team lead in assists with 50.
Nice save by Kimball to avoid the backcourt call.
And knocking over our water also. Moore tried to, look at that. How about that for her 36th steal of the year? I was going to say the no-look save attempt, but no, she used the eyes in the back of her head. Rebound, Walker missed the shot, got it back, and will draw the foul. Should be on number 12.
That's just
Kimball.
toughness and grit there, but how about that?
Well, that was one no-look pass, and here comes another one.
The hand to knock it down. And that's typically a dangerous ball to save. You could be given an advantage, a 5-on-4 advantage. Unfortunately,
yep.
It went right to Bria Hartley.
Well, one of my favorite moments ever at a UConn practice is when the team kept turning the ball over and the opponent was getting an easy layup. So Gino blew the whistle. So give me the ball. And he says, if you can't find a teammate to throw the ball into, do this. And he turned around and he threw the ball to the upper deck. And then he added, at least that way it doesn't cost us 2 points. Then you heard the ball bounce and bounce.
All the way down.
Hartley makes the layup off the turnover at the other end. This is a 9-0 UConn run. They began the game with a 14-0 run, then they had a 9-0 run, and this is another 9-0 run. Inside 2 minutes, 39-12 Huskies. Sweeney to Suey. Rebound pulled down by Moore. Outlet Dixon. That's Moore's 8th rebound already. Moore with the ball fake again, penetrates, kick out, Hartley.
See, that's a better three for Hartley. You know, when it comes more in the flow, again, Maya Moore making it happen by the dribble penetration, draws all the attention, and then kicks it out.
30-point UConn lead. Moore tonight, 10 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 terrific steal. Roberts for 3. Rebound to Hartley with 1:15 to go in the half. Here's Dixon. Moore posting low. Hartley on the drive, and she'll be called for the charge. Her first and 4 on the Huskies.
Heads up defense there by Villanova to step in and take that charge.
8th turnover on UConn. You be the judge, see if you agree with the call. Coming right at you.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Sarah Jones was set.
And oftentimes when a player steps in and takes a charge, you know, oftentimes, you know, the offense is out of control.
Sweeney airball, rebound Farris, final minute of the half. Villanova is 4 for 25, 16%. Farris dumped it out behind Heather Buck. Good hustle by Jones. And Buck got inadvertently hit up around the throat.
Well, it looked like she got hit in the shoulder, and she almost grabbed her collarbone. Like when she got hit, it looked like her shoulder. And having, yeah, it was her right. It was her right arm that got hit. And having dislocated both my shoulders, that's immediately what it looked like to me. Not that she was getting dislocated, but it was her shoulder or collarbone.
Down low, Buck had a terrific game at Pacific on the West Coast trip. Last touch by Villanova. 3 seconds left on the shot clock for the Huskies. Dolson had a career-high 11 points and a season-high 8 rebounds in the win over Pacific University before they played Stanford. Moore, catch and shoot. She's got a dozen. Shot clock is off for Villanova. It has been a long first half for the Wildcats. Jones to Roberts. Sweeney. 5 seconds to go in the half. Roberts penetrates. Swazinski, and they don't get a shot off. Villanova shot 16%. Maya Moore only 2 rebounds shy of a first half double-double. The Huskies began the night by scoring the first 14 points. They added a 9-0 run and another double-digit run. Villanova missed its first 12 shots. It all adds up to a 32-point lead at halftime. UConn with a win will break the NCAA record for the longest home court winning streak in women's basketball history. They're well on their way. They lead 44-12.
Back here at Gamble Pavilion. All right, Chris Daly. After the Stanford game, you guys, I know, wanted to work on a few things. Are you happy with what you saw with your club the first 20 minutes?
Yeah, I think our defense is good and our offense is good. I just think everything, we seem to be staying with our offense and running things through and getting great shots.
Okay, is this a new outfit that you got? Because we were talking clothes. You knew I had to throw this at you.
This is a new top.
That's the kind of game it is, folks. We're talking clothes.
No, we're playing well. I mean, we're playing well.
Playing well and looking good.
Yes, absolutely. Back to you, Bob.
Thank you very much, Chris. She always reads that cue card just perfectly. Big first half for Maya Moore. Let's check out the highlights. UConn led it by a score 14-0 before Villanova finally scored. That's the first basket by Amanda Swazinski. It came 7:44 into the game. Bria Hartley was 3 for 4 from three-point range in the first half. She had 11 points, and she also had 4 rebounds. Maya Moore with one of her assists, setting up one of Hartley's threes. Moore scored 12 points, had 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. She took 9 shots, and she made 6 of them. She played 18 minutes. And Tiffany Hayes, very active, 12 points, 2 for 3 from three-point range. First half was so rough for Villanova that UConn had 2 players who separately equaled Villanova's point total. Villanova scored 12, Moore scored 12, Hayes scored 12, and Megan, look at the differential in the rebounding.
Well, yeah, UConn dominating in the lane, points in the paint, and it's, you know, and they're obviously getting out on the break. It's scary. Villanova's starters have not even scored.
So the Huskies with 3 players in double figures. Great balance among the starters and the big 3, Hayes, Moore, and Hartley. So the Huskies turned the ball over. Remember, we said 5 times early in the first half. Added 3 more. So certainly not happy with 8 turnovers in the half. But other than that, they operated pretty efficiently. And on the first possession, Farris will draw the foul. Rachel Roberts picking it up. That will be her first. And to the free throw line will be Farris. As we mentioned, Farris caught an inadvertent elbow from a teammate in practice. Had a pretty good size gash on her cheek.
Yeah, and it's that thin skin, you know, right under your eye. And when hit the right way, it can just explode open, which it did. Lots of blood.
Lead official Tina Napier checking something over at the scorer's table before Farris attempts the second free throw. Again, next up for UConn following tonight's game will be a visit to 12th ranked Notre Dame. That will be on Saturday at 2 o'clock, nationally televised game. Then a week from tonight, the Huskies will visit 18th ranked St. John's at Madison Square Garden. 9:30 on CPTV. It's a late start because it will be the second half of a doubleheader at the Garden. St. John's men play in the first game. That is what lies ahead for UConn. Louisville coming up on the 15th. Cardinals had a big win at home last night against St. John's. They retired Angel McCautry's number last night at that Louisville game, number 35.
Yeah, well deserved. Nice for the Cardinals to get that win.
Roberts, the kid from Marlboro who played her high school ball at Mercer Middletown, still looking to get that outside shot drop. Foul will be on Sweeney, her first, and 2 on Villanova this half. Rachel Roberts, second leading scorer when she graduated in Mercy High School history with 1,700 points. Down low, Moore a little bit too high. Turnover number 9 for the Huskies.
Well, yeah, Roberts had that great career at Mercy, 3-time first-team All-State, and she was going to redshirt last year because Harry loves to do that. And they just were so decimated by injuries, you know, she had to start playing. He even gave the option to 2 kids this year.
So this is her first time playing at Gamble Pavilion. She did play at the XL Center in the Big East tournament. Kimball finally knocks down a shot. She was 0 for 5. And those were the first points by a Villanova starter, and it took 21 minutes to get them. Dolson with the offensive rebound and a fresh 30 on the shot clock. To Farris. Looking for the cutter. Instead up top, Hayes.
Maya was wide open. They missed her.
Dolson down low. Here comes the double team. And Roberts reached in and created the held ball to go to Villanova. What'd she do wrong on that?
Well, she put the ball down, and she's just, when you got to put the ball under your chin, get your elbows out. And I say this, the coaches would much rather you get an offensive foul for swinging your elbow, but as long as you're pivoting while you're moving, you're not going to get caught unless you really swing those elbows. Be aggressive, go hard to the basket, and if you're doubled, kick it to where the double came from. Your teammate will be open.
Just make sure you don't make contact with an opponent above the shoulder with that elbow. With the new enforcement, new interpretation of the rule this year, that can result in a flagrant foul and an ejection. Kimmel, I think some of the lights just went out here at Gamble, didn't they? Am I imagining things will just get darker?
I don't know. I'm in the dark most of the time anyway.
So Villanova coming back with back-to-back field goals.
Well, there, turnover there. Bad pass by Hartley, and a good steal by Villanova.
Kimmel. Just asked Adam Prince, our statistician extraordinaire. I said, am I imagining things, or did some of the lights go off? He said, I think you're imagining things. it's now unanimous. Sweeney will draw the hand check foul on Dolson. Number 1 on her and 1 on UConn this half. So what did Dolson do wrong again? Let's illustrate.
Well, see, check it out. Now, see here. Don't put, okay, you put it down. Okay, but you didn't go anywhere. And then the defense came, the double came, and the ball was down there too easy for her. You keep it above your head, they can't get it. It's too big.
And Rachel Roberts knocks down a 3. This is a 9-0 Villanova run. And this is going to be a basket and a foul ending the run. Hayes with a chance for a 3-point play. In other words, going back to Dolson, if you're 6'5", you're taking away your height advantage when you hold the ball down low.
You're playing to the little guys there. You're making it too easy for them to come in. Turn and look, feel where the defense is. They are a baby hook. I mean, she's got great touch. But you know what? She's young, and those are things that experience only will teach you. You can learn it every day in practice, and as we've been talking since that Stanford loss, they'll listen differently because they've now experienced a loss which they hadn't before.
That foul was on Devin Kane, her second, and 3 on Villanova this half. Sweeney, who's yet to score tonight, and she'll draw the blocking foul on Kelly Farris. Number 1 on her and 2 on UConn this half. So Sweeney will go to the line. Harry Peretta likes Sweeney. He says she's our best player. She creates a mismatch at center. She's very quick, and she can beat defenders one-on-one. She also, Meg, comes from a very athletic family. Her dad, Bob, played on a national championship team, football team at Notre Dame back in 1973.
Yeah, she's the youngest of 4 kids. Her brother played at Monmouth in New Jersey, so.
Defensive lineman, her brother Brian. And she was an AAU teammate of her Villanova teammate, Emily Suey. Moore, and the foul on Kane again. 2 quick ones on Kane, so she now has 3. And 4 on Villanova. UConn was fortunate because that was not a good pass by Dolson.
No, it was a good catch by Moore.
She threw to a player who was completely covered. So Kane will leave, replaced by Jesse Carey.
But the player that she threw to, who was completely covered, is superhuman, Maya Moore.
Moore just goes right around Sweeney and then dumps it to Farris.
You know, thankfully for UConn and for everyone watching, Maya Moore is as unselfish as she is and as good a passer as she is.
5th assist for Moore. who is 10th in career assists at UConn, needs 9 more to move ahead of assistant Shea Ralph at the 9th. And Sweeney finally gets on the scoreboard from the field. First field goal of the night for Sweeney. She had missed her first 4 shots. Hayes with the pull-up.
It's nice, you know, it's sometimes nice to shoot yourself out of those little mini slumps that you get into. You know, do things different, dribble,
right.
Penetrate, pull up from 6 feet, you know. You don't always have to shoot 20-footers.
That's exactly what we're seeing her do tonight. She's taking it to the rim. She has nailed a couple of threes, and that time she decided not to take the 3 and got a little closer and hit the pull-up. Rebound Hartley in traffic. The open floor to Hayes. Finds 4. She missed the layup and then tipped it in. She's upset because she missed the layup.
Well, yeah, because she wanted to give Tiffany Hayes that assist. But it's impressive how quickly she explodes back up for the tip in.
She is special. Has a great chance. I would say better chance than anyone, being the National Player of the Year this year. And if she does it, she'll be the first UConn player to win the National Player of the Year award 3 times. Sweeney will be called for the charge. Number 2 on her and number 5 on the team. Maya Moore showing a little bit of the arsenal. The left-handed feed at one end. Then she'll follow up her own miss with the tip at the other end. That's how you stay with the play, huh?
All I know is to win 90 games in a row is beyond my ability to even fathom. And I've been in the game 33 years, and I've coached some really good teams at Villanova, and I can't even fathom, even with those teams, winning 90 games in a row. So, to me, it's an unbelievable feat.
And it's a streak which began on opening day in 2008-2009 with an 11-point win over Georgia Tech. And Megan, we did that game right here at Gamble Pavilion. Huskies didn't play great that day. Georgia Tech was in the game, you know, for the first 39 minutes. And we certainly didn't think after we saw that game that, well, yeah, this looks like a team that'll run off another 89 of those.
Not at all. But, you know, that's what's great about this game, and certainly this program and the players and the coaches and what they have done. And I said it before, and I'm certainly not the only person that said it. We'll appreciate it more as time goes by, because it's ridiculous what they did.
Hayes up high. Moore went down as she cut for the hoop. I think the foul's probably going to be called on Swazinski. Yeah. Number 2 on her, already 6 on Villanova. These are 2 of the better free throw shooting teams in the country that we're seeing tonight. UConn at 78%, 9th in the country. Villanova 78.2%, is 7th in the country. The Wildcats don't get to the line very often, though. Hayes with another 3.
Really important for that young lady to get on track. More between her ears than anywhere else, because she's got the ability. It's just sometimes I think she overthinks it.
4th 3 of the night for Hayes, who has 20 points. It's her 4th 20-point game of the year. The miss by Carey, rebound on a bounce to Hartley. UConn by 31. Hayes drives, tried to leave it for a teammate, had it knocked away, and then gets it back. Now up top, Moore. Farris, Moore at the foul line, catch and fire. Rebound kept alive by Farris, but Carey will get it on a bounce. 6 minutes gone, second half. UConn looking for win number 13 and trying to go 3-0 in the Big East. Scanlon for 3. Heather Scanlon has been bothered by a chronic foot injury, which limits her to about 10 minutes per game. She was 1 for 10 from 3-point range. Dolson with the easy layup.
It's important for Dolson to get lots of minutes and just to continue to get experience and get better.
Well, she's played in 3 huge matchups early in the season. Swazinski drives, leaves for Scanlon.
Oh, nice pass, Scanlon.
Carey for 3, knocks it down.
Great pass there by Scanlon.
Dolson did not play particularly well in the first of those big games against Baylor. All she was asked to do in her second college game was guard 6'8" All-American Brittany Griner. Hartley with the miss. Hayes with the rebound, and she'll draw the foul. It will be on Carey, her second and 7 of the team.
What hustle there by Tiffany Hayes.
Foul on number 3, Jessie Carey.
And this team, you know, look at that pass away from the defense. The difference in that possession from the one we showed before, she caught the ball up in the air and then just immediately went up to the hoop. Nobody else can touch it. Nobody can get involved. Credit Dolson with the position she got, but also credit Maya Moore with the terrific pass exactly where it needed to be.
Dolson bounced back from that Baylor experience by playing the game of her life at Madison Square Garden against Ohio State. In that one, she was asked to guard first-team All-American center Jantel Lavender. She did a great job, and she had a career-high 15 rebounds. And rebounding has been something that Gino Auriemma has been harping on. He'd like to see Dolson be more active off the boards. She's only averaging 4 per game, but she demonstrated that day at the Garden against an All-American that she has the ability to be a big-time rebounder.
And the difference is now for Stephanie Dolson, what she has to do every game is that same effort, because Gino Auriemma will not accept anything less. So you have 15 against Jantel Lavender. Well, why can't you get 20 against Villanova? Right. That's the mentality she's going to have to develop.
So far tonight, Dolson has only 2 rebounds. She had 5 rebounds in the loss to Stanford last Thursday night.
You know, Tina Charles had a long learning curve
in
the beginning. You know, everyone remembers what they were like as seniors when they left. Well, remember how miserable her freshman year was and part of her sophomore?
Hartley deflects the ball out of bounds. 6 to shoot for Villanova. Tina Charles did not start in the NCAA tournament her sophomore year.
And that was a message from her coach due to just sort of her intensity and effort. Not that she didn't play hard, but she didn't have that killer instinct. Kind of like that young lady.
Moore on the open floor created some space and then used those big hands to scoop the ball up off the glass. She's one of the few players in the women's game that you see make a move like that.
And I just think of Dr. J every time I see it.
Moore up top finds Walker. See if they can get it inside to Buck. Swazinski, talk about adding injury to insult. It's a foul call on Swazinski. But Maya Moore, check out the body control here. She looks, creates some space, waits.
Wow.
There ought to be a law, not fair. Welcome back to Gamble Pavilion. The gang's all here along with Megan Kumo. I'm Bob Bacozzi, and in between us, John Altavilla, the UConn women's basketball beat writer for the Hartford Courant. And John, let's get to the most important things first. You're in the Bay Area for a couple of nights. Which fine establishments did you dine at? Because I know that's a priority when you're on the road.
I did not remember how easy it was to get a cup of coffee in that city. I can't walk 10 feet without a Starbucks.
See,
or
I
a pizza.
expected the first beverage conversation to be about wine.
It's not 10 o'clock yet. You know. We did find some of that, Megs, yes.
And of course, you were out there to cover a basketball game, and it turned
Bob.
to be an historic one.
Yep.
And what did you take away that big picture down the road? What will in your view, the impact of that UConn loss last Thursday night to Stanford be?
Well, I think it's going to be very helpful for them just to realize that they're not going to be able to win every game, and that this team, as presently constructed, is more flawed than the last 2 teams that put together the majority of that winning streak. And whether they wanted to believe it before the Stanford game, I don't know. But now they know it's a fact.
Yeah, I would say, and you go to more practices certainly than we do, but the margin for error on this team is pretty small, wouldn't you say?
Oh, Megan, it's very small. You know, even if Caroline Doty was on the floor, it would still be that way, because their problem is not with their perimeter players. Their problem is up front. And that weakness at this point in the development of Stephanie Dolson and Heather Buck was apparent. They just don't have the offensive firepower yet to be able to go to them and bring some relief to their perimeter players. And when Maya's not playing well, if Tiffany Hayes doesn't score 25 points, and she was 1 for 9 from the field in Stanford, they're going to lose.
Well, they just got an easy inside basket that time by Samari Walker. Now, the Huskies have already signed 3 high school seniors during the early signing period. Tell us what you think those 3 are going to bring to UConn next season.
Well, they have 3 different kind of players. They have a 6'3" center from Iowa, Kia Stokes, multi-talented, very athletic post player who's going to help immensely right off the bat. They have a player from Georgia named Brianna Banks, who, from what I've heard, is a sort of a clone of Kalena Green in terms of her physical presence and speed. But most intriguingly, they have a player coming in from Los Angeles, from modern day, Kalena Lewis, who is a 6'1", 6 foot perimeter player, all-American player, and is considered as good a shooter, if not a better shooter, than Maya Moore.
Wow.
And, since I haven't seen, that's what I'm saying.
And who said that?
Well, we were out in California, obviously, talking to some people that have played against her, and the coach of the Pacific team and one of the Pacific players happened to play at modern day's biggest rival, Brea Olinda, and she said that Kalena Lewis was just a spectacular shooter, as good if not better than Maya, but not quite as quick yet. And that's what we had heard. We'd heard that she's just a dynamite perimeter player, great scorer, natural scorer. So who knows?
That last foul on Megan Pearson sent Samari Walker to the line for UConn.
So the rich just get richer, huh?
I would think so. If she's any, obviously if she's 60% of the player Maya is and was, they are going to have a great player. And she's actually coming to the East in about a few weeks to play in the Hall of Fame Classic. So Connecticut fans will get a chance to see her play as they did the dearly departed Elena Deladon when she came. You remember Elena Deladon, don't you?
No, I don't remember that name.
Heather Buck hits the foul line jumper. And talking to Harry Peretta the other day, Villanova played Delaware and Elena Deladon earlier this season.
Yeah.
Delaware winning at 69-62. And I asked Harry, knowing you came close to getting her, and he did, it was down to 3 schools, UConn, Tennessee, and Villanova. Villanova primarily because of the proximity of her home in Wilmington. What was it like? And he said, well, look, it's not like I spent the entire game wondering what it would be like if she played for us. Only about 35 minutes.
Well,
that sounds like Harry.
They may have never taken another inside shot in their entire 4 years if Deladon had been on this team. Sadly, she's dealing right now with a nerve issue in her back.
Right? Yeah.
And we heard tonight that it's a possibility she may not play again the rest of the season.
Wow.
So the kid just continues to run into some bad luck. But, that's it.
Harry Peretta is going to call timeout. John Altavilla, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, Johnny.
All right, my pleasure.
And when you're in South Bend this weekend, may I recommend Parisi's?
Okay.
Mancha.
All right.
Born free. 50 years ago, a movie forever changed how we think about wildlife. Audiences fell in love with a lion cub named Elsa. But behind the Hollywood fairy tale were real people, real lions, and real drama.
Nature, Elsa's Legacy, Sunday at 8, only on CPTV.
Never see that movie?
No.
Oh, you gotta rent it. Or I guess you could probably order it, video on demand on your cable system. They have all kinds of ways to do that now. Oh, you gotta see it.
All right, I'll report back.
UConn on a 10-0 run, leading 69-32. We enjoyed our visit with Hartford Current UConn women's basketball beat writer John Altavilla. Talked about the 3 high school seniors who have signed letters of intent to play their basketball at UConn beginning next season. Sweeney on the left. Air ball, rebound, Walker. Huskies also have a verbal commitment from high school junior Morgan Tuck, 6'2" forward from Bolingbrook, Illinois. They only lose 2 players, right? Maya Moore and Lauren Dixon.
Yeah.
Down low, Hartley.
Oh, how about that move inside?
She's
By
got
the
13.
guard with the nice quick turnaround move in the lane.
Hartley could become UConn's next major star. She has displayed signs of brilliance as a freshman. Came in heavily regarded.
Yeah, great flashes of brilliance so far.
The three-pointer is good by Kimmel. So she's playing much better here in the second half. First points in the last 5 minutes for Villanova, ending that 12-0 UConn run. Hartley looking for Farris. Farris directs traffic, goes around the Buck screen. Walker hands to Farris. Hartley, shot clock down to 7. Lauren Dixon with the jumper.
Boy, that would change this team if you could get that from Lauren Dixon consistently, huh?
Well, that's not her strength, but she sure looked good on that one. Lauren had the game of her life, remember, against North Carolina 2 seasons ago, right after the injury to Caroline Doty. Turnover for Villanova, that will be number 12. That will bring us to an official timeout. Lauren Dixon, for 6 years in high school and here at UConn, was Tina Charles's teammate. Huskies 73-35. It's been all UConn from beginning to end. Maya Moore has a great chance. In fact, it would be a colossal upset if she did not become the first 4-time first-team All-American in UConn history.
Well, and it's just the ways in which she can score, which are pretty amazing. You know, she can run the floor, the explosiveness to get back up and tip it in. She can handle, and the beautiful finish on the break. You know, her strength is three-point shooting, but
she's not only the leading scorer in UConn history, she's the leading scorer among all active players in the country. We mentioned Jantel Lavender of Ohio State before. Lavender, number 2. You know, Dick Vitale recruited Maya's dad, Mike Dabney, to play at Rutgers. He was a terrific player in a Rutgers team that went undefeated going to the Final Four in 1976. And Dick likes to say, I told Mike Dabney, you know, Maya reminds me a lot of you. If only you could shoot like your daughter, Mike, you would have made a lot more money.
Absolutely.
Farris. Laura Anglin is checked in for the Huskies and is called for the travel. Turnover number 12 on UConn. There she is. Already a 2-time Wade Trophy winner. Certainly the favorite. There's a lot of season left to play. Certainly the favorite to win the National Player of the Year award this year. But that story has yet to be written. By the way, she doesn't care about any of that stuff. All she cares about is winning a 3rd straight national championship.
Yeah, she wants another ring.
Dixon. Up top, Walker. Finds Dixon. Farris, the only starter on the floor right now.
Yeah,
the foul will be on Buck setting the screen.
Yeah, a little too physical inside there.
Her first 3 on UConn. Walker departs. And our first look of the evening at Michaela Johnson, the 6'2", 6'3" freshman center from Bellwood, Illinois, who is certainly not all the way back yet from a torn ACL injury she suffered last year in January. Suey. Sweeney had the 3, didn't take it. Kane penetrates, and Buck rejects it with 2 seconds left in the shot clock.
UConn's defense tonight has been so good. I mean, how many times has Villanova been so close to having the shot clock run out?
And Villanova shooting only 26%. Sweeney has to let it go. She didn't. That's not very good shot clock recognition. So Dixon will bring it up the floor. Next up for Villanova will be a visit to Rutgers this Saturday at noon. Rutgers coming off a win over George Washington 2 nights ago. It's tough to get a handle on this Rutgers team.
Yeah.
How good they are. Buck misses the shot, but draws the foul and will go to the free throw line. It's what lies ahead for Villanova. Visit to the Palestra next Wednesday, a week from tonight, to play Penn, and I know the Palestra is a place very near and dear to your heart.
Oh, one of the great memories of my playing days to beat NC State and Clemson to go to the first Final Four back in 1991. And being from the Philadelphia area, it was even more special.
First college basketball game I ever attended was at the Palestra. St. Joe's beat Villanova by 1 on a 35-foot shot at the buzzer, and I was hooked for life on college basketball. Philadelphia very much is the cradle of coaches. Among the large cities in the country, I've always felt it's the greatest college basketball town of all the large cities. Farris rebounds on a hop. College basketball just seems much more important in Philly than it is in the other very large cities.
Oh, they got the Big Five, you know. They established their own little circle down there amongst the schools.
Dixon. Johnson with the jumper. Rebound to number 3, Carey, with 4:45 remaining. Carey up top. Kimmel, transfer from Temple. Averaged 5 points a game the last 2 seasons for the Owls. Another one of those Big Five rivals for Villanova from days of old. Dixon directs traffic. Anglin finds Buck. Down low, Johnson spins toward the hoop, split the defense.
Nice strong move. You hear the ovation here. The crowd happy for Johnson, but like you said, she split the defense really well.
Kimmel with the miss, and rebound to the smallest player on the floor, 5'4" Lauren Dixon. This is UConn's first home game in 16 days and first game at Gamble Pavilion in 27 days. But 5 of the next 7 games after this will be on the road. Lob pass down low to Buck. Put it on the floor. What should have she done there when she got the ball down low?
You know, either you turn and shoot or you kick it out, but you can't put it on the floor and then have it dribble out to your teammate because it got knocked out of your hand.
Whatever you do, you got to do it quickly, right?
Yeah, you can't hold the ball for a minute or two. That's not going to work.
Kimmel. Suey finds Carey at the 3-minute mark. Swazinski with Buck's hand in her face, and Farris all alone in the lane for the rebound. UConn will make it 44 straight wins here at Gamble Pavilion with this victory. Last loss here to Rutgers, February 7th, 2006. Farris with the jumper. Buck tried to keep the rebound alive and did. It was last touched by Villanova. And that will bring us to our final official timeout of the evening. Nice touch by Michaela Johnson. UConn 3-1 this season against teams from the top 25. Wins over Baylor, Ohio State, Florida State, the loss to Stanford. And the next 2 games, Megan, will be against top 25 opponents. Notre Dame game nationally televised, the first Notre Dame game. And North Carolina, that will be a big test. And Duke is a home game at Gamble Pavilion. And the Blue Devils are still undefeated. Return match at Notre Dame later in the season. That will be here on CPTV.
You know, I'm eager to see this team play, you know, at Duke. You know, those tough, hostile environments on the road. You know, at Notre Dame next week, let's see how they respond. You know, at North Carolina, I'm sure we'll see something very different from what we saw at Stanford.
Rebound on a hop taken down by Anglin with 2:15 to go. There are 7 Big East teams currently ranked in the top 25. West Virginia, the only one that's undefeated at 13-0. Huskies will visit the Mountaineers on February 8th. Foul on Johnson setting the screen. Her
She
first.
looks like Paige Sauer.
Who's that?
Who's it? Swazinski.
Oh, okay.
She does. She looks like Paige Sauer, doesn't she?
Shorter version, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just her face.
Paige played on UConn's second national championship team in 2000. Swazinski gives to Carey for 3. Rebound pulled down by Farris. That's Farris's 11th rebound. That's a new career high. She had 10 earlier this season against Sacred Heart and Ohio State. Ball last touched by Villanova. Gino Auriemma's club, of course, hoping to get back to the Final Four, and this year it will be in Indianapolis at Conseco Fieldhouse, home of the Indiana Pacers.
Well, Conseco Fieldhouse is really cool. Unfortunately, it's not a real glamorous location.
England hitting the shot for the Huskies with 1:15 to go.
But that's more for the fans, not the players. The players.
Veterans of the Final Four. There have been a lot of men's Final Fours in Indianapolis, and veterans of the Final Four, a lot of them feel that Indianapolis is one of their favorite sites.
Really?
Because of the proximity, everything is close together. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the Riverwalk that San Antonio has.
You know, how did you know that?
Doesn't have San Antonio's climate in April either.
Or Bourbon Street.
Foul on Swazinski. Her 4th. Villanova has UConn in the double bonus, and Michaela Johnson will go to the free throw line. Should be very interesting to see whether Johnson will be able to show what she's capable of doing at some point before this season ends, or whether it will be until next season, where we have to wait and see because of her recovery from the knee injury.
Well, you know, it's really hard to improve during the basketball season. So my guess is her improvement will largely come in this summer, and I think we'll see a very different player next year if all goes well.
Yep. And it's hard to improve when you don't play that much.
Exactly.
And Kalena Green had the luxury of playing major minutes when she returned after her torn ACL. Same thing with Caroline Doty. But Kalena was a much better player in January, the year after she hurt her knee, than she was when the season started in early November. Shot clock is off. So normally, well, Lauren Dixon knows the shot clock. Well, actually, there's about a half-second differential. UConn just may take an intentional shot clock violation here. Villanova took 38 three-pointers tonight, only made 9 of them.
That's unbelievable. Gino was saying that he wanted to make sure that they have only a third of their shots be three-point attempts.
So 6 days rather, after their NCAA record 90-game winning streak is snapped, UConn establishes a new NCAA record for the longest home winning streak in women's basketball history. A 70th straight win at home for the Huskies. They beat Villanova 81-35. UConn goes to 13-1, 3-0 in the Big East. Villanova slips to 7-7 and 0-2 in the Big East. The Huskies scored the first 14 points and never looked back. We'll be back to wrap things up after this. UConn beats Villanova 81-35 and sets a new NCAA record for the longest home winning streak in women's basketball history. 70 consecutive wins. Welcome back to Gamble Pavilion. Bob Picozzi along with Megan Kumo. We're joined by Tiffany Hayes. 22 points, 6 for 7 from the floor, 7 for 7 from the line. What happened on the one shot you missed?
You had to be fouled.
I guess so. I don't know.
But how did it feel, first of all, to be able to get back in action to play a game for the first time since the first loss of your college career last Thursday at Stanford?
It felt really good to be back on the floor, especially after something like that. You know, it gives you motivation after having a game like that. So it felt really good being out on the floor.
You have to be on one level. I know you guys said you didn't talk about the streak, but are you, in one sense, relieved that you don't have to talk about it anymore?
In a sense, yes, because from now on, whatever win we get is ours and only ours. So we can claim it and we can own it.
Although Bob did just mention that it is now a 70-game home court winning streak, so it's really never over here.
And by the way, 44 straight games at Gamble Pavilion, but we won't keep track of that.
Who's counting, right?
Of course, the other night against Stanford, one of the problems is you were much more perimeter-oriented and frankly relied too heavily on Maya and yourself. Tonight, it was much better distributed. Talk about how you're a much better team when you play like your coach wants you to play and get everybody involved in offense?
We're definitely a much better team. You know, moving the ball around, getting it inside and out. You can't just be a three-point shooting team. You can't win like that. So it's definitely better when you get the ball moving around, everybody touches it, and we're going to get things done when it happens that way.
Did you feel it? Could you sense it during the game? And I'm sure watching film showed it in a different way, but could you see how you guys were standing around and kind of waiting for either Maya to do something or for you to try to do something?
Definitely. We definitely watched the entire game, and
how painful was it to watch?
It was horrible, but we definitely learned from it. That's why we watch it. We watch the entire thing, and you learn from it. You know, one person or two people or three or four can't do it by themselves. It's a team effort all the time, and it always has to be that way.
Tiffany, Megan and I were talking during the game tonight that we saw several different things in your arsenal tonight. You hit a couple of threes. You took the ball to the rim, which you always feel comfortable doing. One time you passed up on the three. You dribbled just inside the foul line, and you hit the open jumper. Talk about your desire to make your offense, your personal offensive game, more diverse, and how much more difficult it is to defend you when you play like that.
All right, we'll get you those tickets.
Definitely got to work on every aspect of my game. Like today, you said, hitting every shot on the court. It'll be better for the team when any of us can do something like that, hitting from any spot on the floor, driving, three, or pull-ups, or whatever. You just can't be stuck in one spot like shooting threes all night. So when any of us can do that, it'll open up the offense for the whole team.
But you didn't hit every shot. You missed that one.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations on the win.
Thanks, Tim.
Big night for Tiffany Hayes, 22 points. UConn outshot Villanova 58% to 22%. Look at Villanova, Meg, 38 three-point attempts. I know they like to shoot the threes, but you certainly don't want to rely that heavily on the threes.
No, they only took 50 shots for the game.
And one interesting stat, Maya Moore did not have a three-point attempt tonight. Now, Villanova trailed 14-0 before Swazinski hit the first basket of the game, but then UConn's three best players took over.
Well, yeah, and they're just, talent-wise, they're just superior. You know, the freshman Bria Hartley with the steal and the finish on the break, and Maya with the great kick in traffic out to Hartley once again. And Bob, you know, what can you say about Maya? I mean, she really made a concerted effort to get in the lane and get things done.
16 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals. And how about the no three-point attempts from Maya?
Unbelievable. Well, you know, my girl Tiffany took a bunch of threes, 3 of 4 to be exact. And she had to be fouled on that one. But we were giggling after we went off camera with Tiffany that she can't believe how everyone lets her go left as well. And she's so dominantly left-handed, but hey, they keep giving it to her. Why not?
So UConn turned the page from the Stanford game and had an impressive performance against an inferior opponent. Nothing inferior about the team they're going to play Saturday or the venue. They play 12th ranked Notre Dame at the Purcell Center, where Notre Dame is very tough. That's going to be a big challenge for the Huskies to try to remain unbeaten in Big East play.
And you know, I know Villanova is a tough team to play, but you and I talked about it in the first half tonight. I thought UConn would have played sharper, crisper in the beginning of this game. They're going to have to do that at Notre Dame, or they're going to find themselves in a pretty big hole against a good team in a great environment for their home team.
And with the win tonight, UConn extends its home winning streak to 70, and that's a new record. UConn won 69 in a row. Tennessee won 69 in a row. And by the way, the Lady Vols 69-game winning streak was broken by UConn. I know, Meg, you and I will never forget that. You were doing the game on radio.
Yes.
I was just down there covering a local TV. There was a snowstorm in Knoxville, and none of us got home till Wednesday. We were there all week. Well, we're headed home tonight after UConn gets a very impressive win. For Megan Kumo and our entire crew, I'm Bob Picozzi. Once again, our final score, UConn 81, Villanova 35. UConn women's basketball returning next Wednesday night against St. John's at Madison Square Garden, 9:30 on CPTV. Stay tuned next on CPTV for Canute and Friends. The preceding has been a production of Kinetic Public Television. Good night from Gamble Pavilion and Stores, where the Huskies beat Villanova 81-35.